3 bays and the guests still crotch-faced. And then a prince do that for funnies. How's do you do, codger bro? A bit into apple plots on the sidewalk. Whoup, she screeched, narrowly missed by Otto. Leave, stop petting the dog, hell sick. Tea at 3? Gosh, I'll fucking starve. Bzz, bzz, bzz. You do, over and over. At an estate of a friend, none of them were polite. Goodness. Thought I was a bitter worried. Dribbles, marbled fat, carcasses, smaller without skin, and shopping carts. Here are some letters. Mine's got a burnt right leg. Do you think it's allowed? Repeat yourself. Nonce. Ho ho, easy, huh? There's a trope. No way. And she but content I don't have. Volume maybe B. Pretty, sing it. No, fine thing. Broken shoes. Hands, the feet with them, some pound cake, and a brisk walk. The boy without the head in the porking lot. We talked and talked until it grew on us. It was too much. Whirt, a screechy noise of nearby shot-off missile. Uncertainty, big cones. Not a thing could break. Serifs, car wax made white swoops on the vinyl. V, a gift, poise. God, and how there's nothing here. You rogue, how I already said those things. And it's right here, the present Jeeps. Not some either. Should there be snow? A lot here, right there. Crust, crackle pot, the boom, miss was heard through the house. The old too far stuff always comes out of my mouth, damn. See it? This big plant in the room I moved? And thanks for this comment. Right now it's a big bother, an inconvenience. It ran from here to there and whammed into a tree, ha. Oh, you smash, and asked stupid, unthinking. A glimmer of thought, this glassine solid thing. It went there, now, little before eons. Coming, leaving long gone. He wants to and will thank her for it. We walked and took a humpy course. See this little spot here? It's in Dane. This next thing's more accessible. I think I like it better. It's called Fresh Hair. Fresh hair. Why don't you step outside and get some fresh hair? She was a torrid lass, easily set on edge by the weather and prone to crime. Hello, Harold, did you heat my chocolate, she asked, thought she knew it was unlikely. She knew Harold was unlikely to be heating anything, especially after Mabel. Mabel of flaxen hair and forlorn locks. Mabel who controlled shipping over 3/4 of the eastern seaboard. Mabel of the delicious curried chicken. Where was woman like Mabel? She could wrestle anyone in the morning and then just like anyone at night. Well, Mabel, like rat baiting, were in Harold's past with the gift certificates. She emptied her drink on the dog's head, stepped back to examine her work, and soon, within moments, infinite movement was hers again. Harold looked at her and thought of provolone nostalgia piled deep around his shoes, muddling his socks and giving him a shuffle a coolie might own up to. Mary, he crooned, fighting hunger and sleep like some great bat. Do you have my roller derby? She looked for a while and then picked up a book. It was one of Harold's and had no pages. He never wrote anything in his books, his lack of inspiration extending at times for thousands of pages. He was known to the non-literate public as a man who would shrug in the face of death and frequently shimmy and dance as well. Touch me, he screamed. You oxymoron, she said. Don't scream at me. Sorry, he stammered, but you are a beautiful girl, swan-like and cloistered. Take off your clothes, please. I once piloted a submarine of mesh. I can live. I know how to function in a world made for the morally deficient. She was no longer sensate at the last. He took her in his arms and made her unconscious fingers prune suckers off tomato plants. This is a prose poem which I entitled CoCo. CoCo, push the plumbing through the wall. CoCoCo, plaster splits and falls. Desperados raid, Melba fruit, cochineal, and then, the wind. The. It's probably true the bucolic no longer prance in this century. Starting then and now, CoCoCo crashed the plumbing through the wall. The old lead pipes drown an empire by poisonous salts. Others float in baths, push phases against neoprene, feel metaphoric immediacy, sometime now within and at the whole damn thing swollen reins. Novocaine mouth crumb, cashing around and down, wet the quarry of 4 marble women. Splume bristles, downy growth, the bile green air, the plumbing through the walls is on and above neighbor's floor. Patrols of cortisone leather refract martial songs on skyscraper avenues. A breathmark and accent. 3 large metrical feet, a bellowing stanza incandesce the Stonehenge forge. Black tongs holds the pulsing ingot, heat disintegrates a hole through the deplumbed wall. 3 surveyors plumb over ruins. CoCoCo. Later in the morning, sounds of hermit thrushes spleen the air, overdone by beauty. Retired boutique is unextraordinaire. Welling into the city, excusing divagations, plumbing sidewalks, smegma, couching jargon and velour, soled shoes, breakage, the plumbing explodes through the wall. Shooting discs of plaster through remaining walls. Why stay in the city when you don't like it? The shared disease, so that the ignorance is equal, the insight, if funny, the laugh clears the board for the next hand. The insight is dumb. How fills the intaglio bowl, passed from scruffy hand to mouth. CoCo crash. The plumbing spews through the wall, jets steam, enough pressure to last forever. Who wants it? Mark this spot, damn mark it. Fix your hair on a mirror. Here, call 3 friends and sort of have them like talk with alcohol. Let everything go cheesy and crash the plumbing through the wall. CoCoCo. Among the rubble is your feet. The nice young woman had 2 ears and only 1 nose. In shame, she covered it by a picnic cloth, bologna-ized relishes, peanuts, bad things, ants sliding off, thump in the grass, almost all covered by pieces of plaster. Faucets, turrets, esplanades, and breadfruit crenellations mark delicious battlements happily attacked, slipshod defense. Soldiers dodged burning oil pots, threw 9 tails, cracked chestnuts, and said head shucks, drugged and drank, invited poultry perfectly cooked in gentle vegetables. So much of it they left irregularly cleaning vegetables and meat smash from underneath their armored shoes. Cursing their confusion, wondering to attack, now catch their bibulous host. Enemy on his entertaining back, remove his guts. CoCoCo. The pump. Outside the walls, fooded in the greaves, the chinks, the composite flexibility of their armor, damn it, family men to a boot fun, and women holding cheese. Kids rolling empty truck wheels, screeching pebbles lost notes. Shucks, later in the morning, crash goes the lead dump enamel. The sink. Oh, nearly found, Mister. How did it do like that bleared goodness, landing small parties of dance women, gentle bangings of rubber foam pans, closed to ovens of glass. Whew. Right then, there, hey, stop riding, beast, ho there, where's your content? Are you your infinite form? Nice, well, push the plumbing through, CoCo. Collecting spars, Jimmy pulls, triple pulleys, historians screech, pull the crumbs in fun, finally boy appears, cracks the seal, tumbles waves of molasses, cracks glass, sounds crystal, we all has a fitting suspicion. Then knees, helps us mother, he mother, pushes cart of apple fillings, by helping, be me now, CoCoCo, push the plumbing through the plumbing, doffs cap, puts on airs, takes millions checks, sour out down prospects, soft-lined a venue with harmed friends. Britches snap, take 3-4 good, then good, hola pleasance, mound, fish, tales, stories, and market forms. Gather sin, rat, ion, sodi, o, ciel, el, cocol, chow. This story, which I'll start, is I thought it was a Raymond Chandler satire, but it's not. It's called The Case of the Dimple Divorcee. Shots rang out, cooled down. His mind slapped the thoughts in his sleep-filled head, and more shots rang out. The rings were ricochets on a church bell. Floodhouse looked up. He'd been asleep 48 hours. It was his first sleep in 2 months, and the methadone still sparked in his veins, arteries, and in the back of his skull, brain pieces exchanged occupancy. Shit. He never cursed, hissed. Shit. Nightmare and gunshot had awakened him simultaneously. Let's see. by the sound of 44 Magnum Clint Eastwood special, enough to make daylight out of the most persistent human. Good silencer. Vibration should have warped the barrel by now. Gun holds 6 shots. Knowingly, he raised his face to the window. 3 bullets cut a laser-straight furrow, removing a 4 months' gross of downy hair from the top of his head. He noticed the sun strobing off his cufflinks. He couldn't look away. An explosion filled his forehead and began canceling feeling down the vertebrae in his neck. Silence reached his Adam's apple, and he automatically brought a measuring cup to his mouth, sliding 8 fluid ounces of bile and lung mucus into it. Shit, he didn't know what to ignore, but his cufflinks reflected morning sunshine. 1/2 inch more, and he'd be so much stiff Seamus. Shit, what day is this? I hope the orthopedist will reschedule my appointment. He rubbed the place where most of us have calves. No, not a dairy pasture, his leg. The gastrocnemius, that's right, muscle. The backfire from a retreating Cuban missionary's bazooka had scorched it away. Behind him, the bed was rumpled. She'd left a few hours before. Couldn't razz me for a sexathon equal. Shit on that too. Damn, feel stiff. He did some arm bends with a portable national cash register, then he pitched it through the window. A little after 6 floors later, a dog whine and teary child's voice droned through the same window. Damn carousers. One thing was out of whack. He noticed it immediately. His Western Special 6-shooter lay unloaded on the table. He never left a gun unloaded. The breech was open and a wreath of oil stained the Moroccan tablecloth. The test tube cleaner used to clean the barrel was stuck in a jar of half-opened peanut butter. The air was 1/2 cordite. What had she shot? Glass cut into his foot pads. Shit, the water cooler. Its 3-legged stand stood in one place. The cooler didn't. And if you'll all hold on, we'll continue this next week. Thank you. Okay. And we'll read next, and I think Eileen has an introduction for Mr. Lenhart, who's 1 in a million. Do you?
Yeah.
Great.
I just...
Are you shocked?
Yeah. No, I was just wondering, who is Gary Lenhart anyhow? He's another regional poet from Albany, New York, the state's capital. And Gary is a capital poet. No, as in A as in Allen Ginsberg, T as in Ted Berrigan, FT as in FT Prince. It used to be G as in Gary Snyder, but now it's G as in Gary Lenhart.
Oh,
if I had 2 minutes, I would have got a better one for you.
Life in the fast lane. It occurs to me as white line fever in possible California. I can use those words without illusion as we pause for refreshment, contrary to the cowboy sample of earlier excursions, gunning the old Ford to no appreciable acceleration. Cracked black in Colorado, muffler in Tucumcari, gas stations recognize us in Okemah. It isn't just a question of romanticism, a la Woody Guthrie or the Grateful Dead, and it's not the measure of 7 years. Bacon in the birchy Adirondack morning, tequila and OJ at the Broome Street Bar, Yankee Stadium hot dogs or Fenway Park, content to be anywhere with no expectations. You can't always get what you want, and to be noble, well, that's not. But no slouch, Clyde, either. I, for one, haven't given up on science, and to engineer a bridge across grander canyons or more intimate narrows, sure, it's not quite rock and roll, but I like it. So, to my fellow travelers stoned in geology departments from Madison to Kabul, I offer only my nostalgia for the ultra-violent future, not uncomplicated by a pill to hurl us through this afternoon. We should do this every year, in a different place, and perhaps with different faces, if we can. West Village. In a week, you'll be gone with the oil on your fingers. From now on, I am not safe. Naked and singular, a watercolor to be washed off. I read short-term, spaced. How did Sean make $45 on the street that night? The rabbit trick, peddling watches, finding a man in a bottle. Molly, the aging gym teacher, begs for penance, her pink skin perforated like a tiny yellow finch, bifurcated by a jagged Budweiser mug and attached to a note, optional, silhouette or remembered smell. I let you make a fulcrum out of what you never felt. Love is a cold bowl of chili. My sugared skin has passed its saturation as the rain segregates mouth from eyes, failing to dissolve my chlorinated lump. Hope patters on the roof like mucus. Another Tuesday without my white shirt. George is drinking the champagne of bottled beers on the porch, certain only of taxes and slurred jokes. Unhumorous is the one the neighbor boys tell about his overweight and loving daughter, Lisa, cashier in the corner A&P, 9 to 6, Sundays and holidays. And if, here in the express lane, I confide to the confident Lisa that I love her, which isn't untrue, especially in the speaking, as the sweat gleams on her flustered neck, will she slip my hot dogs unregistered into a double paper bag? And will her face misinterpret as inconstancy or malice my sharing the orange juice with the dancer downstairs, however sincere my every heart might be? Perhaps grace is given variously and not according to deserts, and then words incite the obvious with the carelessness of metaphor awaiting light contention. George drinks his way toward recognizing such fact without ever emptying the consolatory bottle, and his consolation is true and unconvincing, as experiment has proven. The rainbow signature of the bloated soak evaporates from the ominous cornerstone as swiftly as a subway full of camels flashes heedless past your eyes, while Lisa, tolerant and condescending, remains clear-sighted, sober to the bloodshot fiction that a poem or a drunk describes real women and men, the notion that emotion is more than its vocabulary. And miming her delicate essence, I remove myself from this encounter between daughter and doting father, remaining invisibly silent as a sociable good morning, wishing for each of them only the accredited best in the unalienated sense of the term. VSOP. At Herbie Hancock, I miss you as I slide off the trapeze bar and into the hall with the ice cubes, where this dame leans across and inquires coiffuredly, is it concert music or is it jazz? Try to get away from that definite exercise, back to a little grass shack of considerate construction, in its element, so to speak, within a traditional vocabulary, disgrudging her econo-latitude. 98% caffeine-free, even in Hawaii, an insomniac at the misplaced gates, in baby blue leisure suit with matching mate. You say tomato, I speak the bastard tongue of living. Is it literature or is it jazz? And then the jazz literature, which fills several shelves. Shelve this, puddinghead, Mr. Snare Drums for brains. Clever as a bass fiddle, my muscle-fingered granddad used to say. Coke without the rum, chocolate ice cream on the subway floor. The liberty to sharpen your skills and land a good job. Give yourself the business, Trumpet Nose. Blue spine, like a battered child, or a rare book twisting slightly to the right. I believe they call it torque. At least my high school bowling buddies did, and still do, when the soft rubber grips the hard wood varnish and smashes pins off the reinforced wall in a striking representation of vertebral information. I thought my spine, divided, would keep me out of the Army, like a rare book. But it turns out chasing flies and lifting refrigerators stimulate cartilage to a bony substitution. In Milwaukee, that's health, and it takes you off the shelf. Navy blue and army green and flight suit orange, and what a flattering tan. Charming surprise. What we need is vitamins and convenient brown capsules and intelligent urban planning. Isn't that true? On Sugar Mountain. Fundamentally, the birthplace. Did you see what they did to your children there? No night ball game since 1945. Tear gas burning my reliable leg. Heads bashed around us. Romance on the silver screen. Orange glamour in your eyes. S'il vous plaît, Moonbeam. Merci. Only one riot, isn't there? A drunk on the roof, the extensive apartments blocking the sun, What kind of extravagance is this to son of myself, the criminal amnesiac? My new plastic ID card has a picture where there ought to be a number. I keep the universe honest and declare, I wish you. This boogie woogie, your blue dress, how I got started as a musician. Bomb sheet. 1. And let your mind swallow these scraped beans of progress, electric and acoustic, as the oval smoke of operettas is retreaded by the rubber champion of strawberry memories into a stereocast past, drummed into revision like athletic kisses upon ivory keys, up to a mini kingdom of classical scratched heaven. These are pleasures to serve you, are usually cardboard jive, but cardboard solos may sometimes surprise, like now, for instance, as I squat upon the homework of 20 dry cell twilights. If I could dunk Dr. J's grace into the network of audio messages, fast breaking through the ganglia to a score of performing hearts, would I bother trimming my beard of scraggly desires, graying for lack of the deft and free throw? Improvisation, like a group, I want to be responsive and directed to the stage of intimate cohesion with the pianist of my choice and the saxophone of fantasy, where if there's a thing well done, I might be its valediction. If a revolutionary ensemble, I might be its supposition. And if there comes that instant over the growing mountains when the left engine erupts like the right into flames, would I bail out 3 lines too late? No, I don't. 2. We've eliminated the spectator aspect of existence. Understand? Step on it. The prudence of the auto industry, the childlike life of Scandinavian sailors, a horse farm on the Santa Monica Freeway. Life ain't nothing but a dream. On top of Old Smoky is a sign of the fool. We must proceed with utmost haste. Shuffle through the space of your soft landing mission. Prepare to meet your maker, child of Mariner 12. The first time I saw grass, it was in a plastic bag, like garbage. The interstellar seas beckon steadfastly. Most of these missions, however, are more economically performed by craft with the capacity to process information and respond appropriately without awaiting instruction. Long grain, short hops, faster than light, which nothing is. Let the breezes blow you. Coming apart. Michael thinks it's bourbon. He says, don't get drunk before the reading. So I go to the street to swallow it twice. No reason I can't keep it down. I stuff some paper in the Max Jacob book, not in case, but because I know, more so at least, than why I need the street. It's gasoline air and acrid dungarees stuffed with desperate strangers. I mean, basically, I'm a happy guy, intensely so. My friends will tell you that, especially in the morning in that green overstuffed chair with a 3rd cup of coffee and some FM rock, reading all-star poetry near the telephone with a felt-tip pen, thoroughly eager for the day to unfold. Folding linen. The landscape's romantic as Manet in the laundromat, myself the realist among moon-smacked underwear, tinted with crusty memories of arousal and frustration, the brunettes with the allure of a rug before a television, the design student's transparencies on her crayon fingers. Lingering on those digits, washing my sneakers to refresh their supple odor, doing my sheets for the pregnant weekend, tossing in Greg's t-shirts with the dish towels. I'm affably domestic to my fetid metatarsals. It's odd how Debbie and I were roommates, those ambiguous familiars, throughout last summer, and I never touched her laundry, as if fingering soiled underwear betrays the bad taste of an old turkey. Our wires were barbless and commonly divisible, but then Debbie was the first woman I've shared an apartment with who wasn't expecting a lover, if I exclude the I Love Lucy buff in a situation comedy where I was having an affair, that's what she called it, with the professor's wife. So was that peculiar, at 29, a paper bag of sane perceptions, never to have been intimate with a woman in a natural, unsexual way, relaxing on Monday night with a beer after football or Jack Kerouac? It's true, too, that I lived with Michael for a year and never touched his laundry, although so infatuated that I cleaned the toilet. And Kathy, confusing some sad stories about cops and truck drivers and Jesuit second basemen, told me she wasn't bothered if I slept with him. I've always felt retarded as a bowling ball, but this poem must have been rolled down an indiscreet alley by a much younger me, not yet vicious and indefatigable. Or maybe some myth is yellowing my words like layers of floor wax, or the morning after a 40s detective flick, when the repartee is joyless as just whistling without strings. I do know that when I have lived with women, our violent proximity has remained exotic as papaya juice, squeezed in the frenzy of a pilgrim in the desert, till we sat around dried apricots in the gold-fading glow, or I'd run into her at Rube's by a coincidence of thirst on the weekend we were both supposed to be away, and we wouldn't resist the seltzer of corresponding erogenous zones. But in the aftermath of scrambled eggs, we'd be like brother and charming sister, anxious to dwell across town in a floor-through. Or I'd slug her when she came to me with scissors, or we'd split in tandem into French and German literature and sustain foreign affection over hamburgers. Mostly, though, it's been casual, as a weekend with a broken leg, or a canoe excursion on the Mad River, or paddling in on a friend to discover he's gigging in Buffalo, but Dolores didn't go. So you smoke his hashish in the Allman Brothers evening, the barn owl hoots, and you squeak across the porcelain, or you meet someone in the laundromat reading W.H. Auden's collected shorter poems and carrying a poster of Picasso's Harlequin. The sun, reflecting off the hardware store, sparkles her silver earrings as you stroll down First Avenue, enmeshed in pillow slips of fresh laundry. Her name's Glory, and in the ensuing day, you notice her technique for washing dishes. First, she fills the cups with a lemon scent detergent, which she proceeds to pour into larger containers as the smaller ones are cleaned, until the last galactic dish to emerge from the translated water is the largest chocolate bowl.